Welcome back, guys, to the Microgreen Thumbcast. It's been just a little bit over a year ago since our last official episode that we had. I believe it was on April 20th of last year of 2024. And a lot has changed as we've gone through this last year and stuff for myself, for Andy. I'm sure there's a lot that's changed. We'll get into all that here soon. We've grown, the industry's involved. We're back and we're going to be super focused and sharp focused for you guys, delivering actionable content for you through this podcast with our combined knowledge of myself, Andy, and my wife. In the background, the producer, Jess, is back there. You won't see her, but you might hear her voice from time to time as well in this. Today, we're going to talk what's changed in the microgreen world and what still works and what doesn't work even, what we've tried and what didn't work, as far as businesses growing and all kinds of things. So what doesn't work is probably more important than what actually does work, right? So if you find the falls, you can move forward as well. We're going to be live. We're going to be raw. It may not be perfect. It may not be polished. It's just going to be us sharing real knowledgeable stuff with you guys. Planning on doing it bi-weekly. No fluff, just real talk with you. So let's get into this new launch of the Microgreen podcast. Microgreen podcast here. So let's talk about why we took a break and what stepped back from the podcast. Our business was growing faster than what we could keep up with and keep the focus to be able to develop a podcast and make it actionable for you guys. So we had to take the step back, reassess, and get our business taken care of, because obviously that's where we make the money, right? So we have to make sure the business is focused and everything else. We want to be here for you guys, but want to be here if it's actionable steps and stuff that we can help you with, and just not jumping on and having a casual conversation. We want to make sure that we have something for you guys and make worth tuning into. Just want to keep pushing out episodes that were just fluff and nothing, and it just wasn't done right and everything else. Not that we're perfect, and we still won't be perfect, but we're here to share some stuff with you. Since we've been here, what's grown in our business coaching program as well has taken on a lot. We have two groups on school.com. One is Microgreens for Profit, which is a totally free group. And all that community is for free. We're going to have some more free stuff in there. And then we have the business coaching one, obviously, as well. That's our paid group. So that took up some time and stuff and getting that stable and everything else with that. Some exciting changes talking about that, which we'll talk about in the future episodes coming up. But yeah, solid stuff in there, some stuff in there and everything else. And want to get back on the YouTube channel and make some actionable content for you guys here, along with Andy as well. Things I've learned by stepping back myself, realize that growers don't need more surface level advice. There's plenty of that out on YouTube and everywhere else, right? There's a lot of surface area where they need structure, guidance, and someone or some people, as two of us are here, who've been there, done that, and can share some good stuff with you guys. There's so much content out there that either is this beginner fluff or just too scattered to take action on. So we want to give you guys actionable steps. This is where this podcast fits in. We want to bridge that gap and help you grow your business. So why we're relaunching is to be more clear than ever and want to help you and want to serve you. And this podcast is totally free, and you get two of us here that have grown successful businesses. So three, really. I ain't going to discredit Jess. She's back there. She's probably done more than myself. So she's the real backbone of the business. So
she's the most qualified out of all three of us.
For sure. This podcast is just back. It's aligned with our entire ecosystem now. I've been thinking about doing it for a while. And then Andy reached out or made a post I seen about, that was almost a year ago, the podcast. That it started like 2 years ago around this time. So it was kind of the anniversary of it and stuff. And I've been thinking about trying to relaunch it and everything else. So that was the push to go for there. So thanks, Andy, for reminding me of that and getting us going for this.
No problem at all, man. I'm happy to be back. This is awesome. I'm excited. Awesome. I miss doing this for sure. But I know you guys were ultra swamped when the time came and we finally had to call it for a little bit. So I totally understand. I'm glad we're back.
So about that, Andy, what have you been up to since last we been on the podcast?
So I don't remember if we had moved into our current space or not by the time we ended the podcast the last time, but we're now in a 4,000 square foot space in Havre de Grace, Maryland, which is like probably 25 minutes from our house. We looked for over a year, to try and find a new space to move into, and ideally the county that we live in, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way. So we ended up having to go to a different county, which the real joy of that is there's a toll that we get to pay every day driving back and forth. So thankfully they have like a $20 a year option where you can get that through Easy Pass, which is nice. So anybody that works for me that lives in the county I'm in, I just give them $20 a year in cash and say, hey, go buy the bridge toll. It makes things a little easier. But
Nice.
that was kind of the biggest thing, I think, overall was, closing the store down, which I think we had done before we actually stopped the podcast the last time. But migrating into the new space we're in now definitely was a process. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can actually find I did a full commercial tour of the entire space probably a couple months after we moved in. So that way you can kind of see how we set it up, how the workflow looks, what the process is. And the beauty of it is I think we're at almost 40 racks now. It'll allow us to grow to about 160 uncomfortably, but we can do it. So that space offers a lot of major expansion,
Yeah,
which is what we did not get from the space we were in before, being a long rectangle versus a nice, good size, almost perfect square. It's like 59 by 69, so this space is definitely a huge plus. And done a lot of work on farm flow. I think maybe 3 months ago or so, I'd put in probably months worth of time to make it significantly faster. It's blazing fast now, which was the one big complaint that I had. I know you guys did too, and I totally get it. So we did a lot of work on that to actually get that up and running fully again, which is great. So now it's like crazy fast. Even the slow pages like seeds and things like that took forever. And I couldn't remember. I think we had the soil presses developed and launched by the point of the last one, but we've got those.
It was
out
right
there.
about that time. Yeah.
I think it was right around then. And you guys have one, right? I think
We do.
you got one as part of buying your soil machine, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully you guys are liking it.
Yeah, it does good. For sure. Yeah. It's a nice cleanable tool to use versus just a tray, or like a lot of people use wood or whatever else. So it's a nice cleanable thing that you can use that is designed. But I would recommend probably getting you press too many trays, because we got it free for buying the soil. So we got the lesser model, and that does grind into your hands a little bit. If you're doing a few hundred trays, like, we are doing 400 or 500 trays, it gets, after a while, it's going to get hurt on your hands. So I would recommend getting the rounded ones a little bit.
Yep. Get the premium handles for sure. Yeah. It's way more comfortable. I mean, if you're doing, and that's unfortunately what the soil machine company actually bought, was the lesser handled ones. But yeah, go for the premium handles if you can. And if we think about it, Mike, I'll send you guys a pair of the premium ones so you can replace those. Okay. So just remind me and I'll definitely shoot a pair over to you. They're definitely worth it. Those things are stupid expensive, unfortunately, but they're so much better. So much better.
Way more comfortable in your hands.
I've never actually used the cheaper handles ever. I mean, we don't even have one made in our shop. They all have the premium handles on them, but they felt like they'd be okay for like a smaller farm that has, 10 to 30 or 40 trays a week or something like that. Nothing crazy, but premium handles are definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I would say if you're getting past that 40 tray mark, you definitely probably want to get, because that's about 30 or so trays in, it's going to start hurting. You're going to start feeling it, I should say. Not hurt. You're going to feel it. But it's very doable. Definitely way to start out if you're just starting out. And can they buy them afterwards to add on?
Yeah, you can. Yep. So on our website, freshsourcefarms.com, you can actually buy the whole thing as a kit. So it's got the actual press part and the handles, or you can buy the handles by themselves. So if you made the mistake of buying one with the flat handles, feel free. You can go on our website, order the premium handles, and we'll ship them right out to you. Those things are not cheap, unfortunately, for us to even buy. It's insane how expensive they are, but they are amazing, and they're obviously made of all food grade, chemical grade materials. So that's the beauty of it, is you can literally sanitize that thing and not have to worry about anything. You're not going to be grinding stuff back into your soil every time you press. So we use ours every single day. We have the first prototype that was ever made, and we have the first actual, production version of it in our shop that we use all the time. So yeah, they definitely come in handy. So, and we got one of those soil machines since then. We won a grant and got that thing for free, which was awesome. So that thing's been a game changer. So yeah, lots happened, man. Oh my God.
It's awesome to get the grant.
It's been crazy.
I paid for it. So
yeah. Yeah, we definitely did ours through a grant.
I can do, right now we're doing about 300 trays, a little bit slower right now, 350 or so. and I get them done like in half an hour. I can fill all the trays in like half an hour. It's so fast.
I mean, it literally, I tell people all the time, it took a process of manually filling the tray, manually spreading, manually pressing, which takes about a minute to a minute and a half, you know, at a decent speed, down to like 8 to 12 seconds tops. I mean, you know, I mean, it's, I remember the first time you used it, I was on there timing you and I was like, Mike, you just did that one in 15 seconds. And then you were like speeding up, and you got it down to like 8 or 9. I was like, yeah, man, let's go. So that thing's amazing.
It is. It does its job for sure. It's well worth it. Even if you got to pay for it, it's well worth it if you're doing a lot of trays. For sure. Well,
that was definitely a nice get.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's changed since last time we recorded. Out there, you see a lot more people that are growing microgreens than ever, which is awesome. A lot more people are growing around us. We even have students in our group that is an hour or so away from us. So they're basically competitors. But it's great to have more growers out there and everything else. It feels like every week there's someone new launching a business, more racks, more stuff, everything like that. And they're always asking how to price microgreens. I find that is the number one question I get a lot. What do I price my microgreens at? I always ask them, well, what's your inputs? How much does it cost you to make a tray? How much does it cost you to make a package? How much does that cost? There's some of the questions that we get all the time, we see out there and everything else. Talking about that, we do have a pricing guide that's in our Microgreens for Profit group. It's $10 if you join that group for free. It's $10. You can get that spreadsheet that we made on how to price microgreens. Very, very helpful in that and everything else. So definitely, if you want, check that out. If not, check out our free group anyway. But that's what I've been noticing a lot. Andy, what have you been seeing out there? More noise, more starting? What's going on? What do you see?
Yeah, we've definitely seen some people pop up around us. I mean, and it's no different. I mean, I've coached several people that are very close to me. I mean, I've had when we had the storefront, we had people walk through the front door trying to sell me microgreens, ironically, to sell in our store. And I was like, apparently you didn't do any research before you walked in here.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't like a thing where, oh, you know, get that crap out of here. You know, I mean, I gave them actual advice because like some of the guys had just obviously clearly not great products, clearly not great packaging, you know, stuff like that. Because I mean, ultimately, you know, the goal would be to try and find people to fill in the stuff you don't want to do anymore. You know, if you don't want to go to farmers markets anymore, then there should be an opportunity for a microgreen grower to start in that area, because in the end, no matter where you are in your competition level, everybody that's involved is helping educate the public on what microgreens are and educate them about the health benefits to them. So it makes Mike's job easier to sell microgreens when somebody that's near him is also talking about microgreens, whether they're buying his or Mike's. You know, ultimately, if that other person goes out of business or they lose out or whatever, or they find Mike's and they find they like theirs better, you know, then it's an easy sale because they already are familiar with the product. That's the hardest thing we've got to overcome, you know, as an entire community across the globe, literally. I mean, Sprouts ultimately are still fighting that battle, and they've been out long before microgreens, you know, at least like as far as a relative understanding of what they are. So, you know, the fact that at this point, I think microgreens have almost, I don't want to say surpassed, but they got to be pretty darn close to surpassing Sprouts in popularity, you know, mainly because of the risks and things that are involved with Sprouts, like pathogen and disease issues, things like that. So I think overall, you know, it's definitely a booming market. And, you know, the biggest challenge everybody always has is, you know, like you said, pricing, sales, marketing, you know, things like that. Growing them is the easiest part, by far the easiest part, you know, that's awesome. You know, the production process is simple, but, you know, without customers, it doesn't do you any good, you know, so that's the biggest piece you got to figure out.
Yeah. And without pricing them correctly is the biggest challenge, because if you price too low, you're not going to make any money. If you price too high, nobody's going to buy them. So you've got to know your inputs, and you got to know all that stuff. Everything else, you're toast. I think that's why most people go out of business, is because they don't know their numbers, or they don't know how to run a business. They can grow, they can sell, but the whole business aspect is a whole different thing too. You know, the tax man comes around every year. You got to know how to get your taxes done and what you need to write off and all that stuff and everything else. But that's a whole other subject that we could spend days on that part. But but you know, customers have even changed a little bit. You know, grocery stores are being more of a buyer now for local microgreens. Restaurants, chefs, they change constantly of what they want, right? So you got to be on top of what they're wanting and what their needs are if you're going in that realm. If you're going to sell for grocery or restaurants, you got to know what the microgreens are now, what's in popular now, what's going on now. So you got to be tuning into this podcast and other things to know what's going on in the world of microgreens. So that way you can stay on top of stuff and being ahead of the curve other than everybody else. Standards higher now. So the more people are in the business, which is a good thing because it brings all everybody's level up, right? Your level gets higher because competition does that. If there was no competition, no sports teams would ever be any good because they don't no need to get better because there's no competition. Same thing for us. There's always competition. That's a good thing. People expect clean, constant quality products, no mushy products. Packages has got to be looking halfway decent. You got to look perfect. Some of that local feel is good, but don't look like a hobbyist. Don't look like somebody who's grown in their backyard and they growing different stuff and everything else. Just make sure you look like a true business. There's been people around here that have tried to copy us, and the grocery stores are too far for us to go. And they're like, hey, look at their YouTube channel and copy what they do. Well, they never bought coaching from us or anything else, which we would have helped them out. And they try to copy us and they're failing because they don't know everything that we know. Because it's not just about packaging. It's not just about what it looks good. It's not just about how to grow it. It's a lot of other aspects. So they keep on constantly asking us to come there, but it's just too far of a reach for us. So I would help them people if they reach out to us, and probably would do it for free to help that grocery store because that's a whole chain of stuff and everything else. But you got to have good quality products as their demand is going to be there. Grocery stores are looking for that local. Andy, I know you've gone out and pitched and done stuff with everybody. How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when we're dealing with chefs, we're trying to plan an appointment as best we can. Sometimes we'll walk in. It's rare. I mean, we usually try and avoid that unless we know we can find the chef ahead of time, because that does open a door when you're walking through the front door and you say, hey, I'm here to talk to Chef Matt or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, let me go get him. They assume you know him, even though you don't. You've never met him before. So, just knowing the chef's name we found is a much easier way to walk through the front door and actually get past the gatekeeper, which is basically the server, the attendant that's right there when you walk in, so it kind of helps get past that point. And oftentimes, no chef is going to turn down free stuff. I mean, literally they will not. So if you can get in front of them, you're in good shape. As for grocery stores, same thing. I mean, we don't always try and schedule an appointment. I'll usually try and find out when the produce manager is working, and then I'll just make sure I go in when, it's not crazy busy, sometime during the week, preferably not on the weekends when they're going to be the most crazy. That seems to work out pretty good. And then, those are kind of our two bigger markets, but we've been leaning a lot more in the restaurant side of things too. And it's funny because your reference for the guys that are growing, and selling down in that grocery store and they tried to copy you. This one time we did a video with a chef, and he's been a chef of ours for 4 years now. And he was making their signature dish, on video for this thing. And I was like, are you really okay with literally having somebody film your signature dish being made? He's like, Andy, I could have another person standing here and telling them what to do, and they're still not going to make it as good as I can.
Yep.
So it's very similar to what you're talking about, when you try and get somebody that's going to attempt to copy you and go from there. So that's why, you have to build confidence in your own products. You have to be able to present. And like Mike said too, I mean, you've got to find that fine balance between looking like a really, really, really crazy strong business and still finding it to be local, finding a way to make it look professional, but also make it look local and not make it look like he said somebody doing it out of their basement or whatever, where they're handwriting all their, names of crops and stuff like that on their stuff. It's got to look good. I mean, we've won over grocery stores that turn down other growers because of that, because of how nice our website looked, because of how nice our packaging and labeling looked, so it's a big plus when you've got that opportunity and that ability to put together something really professional. We recently, probably 3 or 4 months ago, I wish I had one physically to show you, but we redid our chef menu, and it looks incredible. I mean, it's I think a 6x11 postcard now, and it's the soft touch paper, which I love from Vistaprint. I've talked about it in the past, and it looks incredible. I mean, you give that to a chef and they're like, holy crap. I mean, they're expecting a printed out 8.5x11 sheet of paper. We're giving them a nice actual card. Yeah. So they really enjoy that. It's a cheap expense to have those printed. Obviously I did all design work, so I didn't have to pay anybody, thankfully, but nothing like Fiverr or something like that. You can probably get somebody to do it for pretty cheap. But yeah, that's been little things like that makes such a huge difference, that it just shows you care and it shows you want to look professional. And we've been asked, I don't know how many times, are you guys a franchise? Are you guys a franchise? And we're like, no, man, we're just damn good at what we do. So it's a
Yeah,
nice
you want that
plus, for
impression
sure.
that you're really good and you're really professional, but you want to make sure they understand that you are the local person too, because a
Yeah.
lot of them want to spend money with local, especially when you go to
Yep.
restaurants. Like eat local, local kind of thing is all out there. So it is a fine line, like Andy was saying. You want to look professional, and you want to look like know what you're doing, but you want to keep that professional, that local kind of feel as well. So, but by
Yep.
Andy going in as the owner, or myself or Jess going in as the owners, that makes it local a lot alone, right? That you're still there, you're still doing stuff and everything else, so they understand that you are local. At least to start the account, right? At least to get the count
Yeah.
going up and everything else. You want to make sure they understand who the owner is and that they can contact you. And then when they're on the phone with you, if they got something going on, issue, or they need more products or whatever, they know who they're talking to. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it boils down to it, I mean, local translates to fresh.
Yes.
Translates to getting it immediately. I mean, that's really the big thing. It's like, yes, you're supporting your local community, but there's also major benefits to having a local product, like freshness, like quick delivery. I mean, they're going to get long shelf life out of everything. It's going to be somebody they can call anytime, and they know they can reach out to you, and it's not going to be, some person in another country answering the phone as customer support. It's going to be you picking up the phone, or one of your employees picking up the phone, or something like that. And that's nice that they have that access to something like that. So that's a lot. Being local is just a lot more than supporting the local community. It translates to all those things and more ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you guys, if you're enjoying this, or you would like to go ahead and make sure you hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and head over to Andy's channel as well and subscribe to his channel if you're not over there either. So make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. Like the videos on both the channel, helps us both out. We definitely appreciate that. This helps to get out there to more people so we can help more people. Speaking of that, there is more content out there on Microgreens. You'll see a lot of YouTube channels pop up, a lot of older ones, the newer ones, and there could be some bad advice out there as well. Just because they're on YouTube telling you how to do something doesn't mean it's correct advice. So be careful who you're getting this stuff from. I mean, everywhere we look, I see short videos. I see how to start a microgreen business, flat out, and a lot of it is flat out wrong. 100% wrong, and they're leading you down the wrong path. So, I hate for anybody to be led down that path. That's the reason why we are, and I think Andy's in the same boat here, making this commitment with this podcast, putting out correct content on YouTube and giving you guys the real stuff from people that've been doing it for 5+ years. Right? You've been at 5 years, right, Andy? Too?
Yeah, we just passed 5 years in May.
Yeah.
Yep. So
awesome. Over 10
10
years of experience between us, that's a lot. Yeah. So,
and the biggest thing is we've got full-time experience.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how long. When did you guys start full-time? Pretty much right away, right?
6 months in.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And ours was December of 21. So I guess it's been almost 4 years of full-time at this point. Yeah, so that's huge, man. I mean,
basically July of 21.
You gotta walk away from a job.
Yep. I had no problem with it. I want, that was our 100% goal. And I made that, very apparent at the beginning. If we were going to do this, that's what our goal was. But that doesn't mean you're going to hit it when you go out and set that. But I didn't think it'd be 6 months. It just, it really took off faster than I thought.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So be careful who you get information from. Make sure they're reputable. Make sure they understand that they've been in business for a while. They just didn't pop up growing microgreens a month ago and they're trying to tell you how to run a business or how to grow microgreens, because they ain't even got enough trials underneath their belt to understand what could go wrong, what's going to go wrong with the crops, what's going to go wrong with beets. Everybody has problems with beets. We've grown hundreds of trays of beets now, so we can help lead you in that direction and help you out with that. It's easy to get inspired, which is great when you see a reel and you see somebody claiming that they're making $5,000 a week and they just started growing microgreens 2 months ago. It's great to be inspired, but let's be honest, that's probably not real, right?
Yeah.
The internet, what is that? The majority, everything on the internet's true, right? He's a rich model. So, be careful. That's what. So we want to do our part. I believe Andy's on the same part as this, just giving back and giving the truth to you guys.
Yeah.
Because the more we can raise this community of microgreen growers, the better it is for us. Being people are in it for 5+ years, and it just helps us get our business elevated and everything else in the microgreen industry looked at as a better thing to get, and get local. instead of getting from the big guy out in California or the big farms out east and stuff like that. So like we want them to get from us local vendors. I would rather somebody be in the other town of me and they take over the local business in that town. Great. I'll do the business here. We'll go to another town. No big deal. The more local, the better. The more local growers, the better. That's what we want to see. Andy, what kind of bad advice have you seen out there?
Oh my God. I literally did a YouTube video on bad advice at one point. I mean, just basic stuff, like a lot of, you know, and I want to preface this by saying, if you're watching and you're trying to get into like a decent sized business, don't watch YouTube videos from people that have only ever had a rack or two ever. You know, I mean, they have no clue how to actually get into a commercial space, hire employees, run payroll, you know, do taxes, walk away from their job and do it full time, short of being a full-time YouTuber, you know, things like that. I mean, that's really like, I would say the biggest thing. Like if you're trying to literally get big, then follow guys who are big. You know, follow Robert, follow Mike, follow me, follow Dave from Micro Acres, you know, guys that have like really done a good job with growing their business large. You know, Robert's, I think up to almost 70 racks at this point, you know, down in Florida. Robert Meredith, who I'm talking about. So I mean, he's got a massive farm and he does almost zero coaching and anything else. I mean, almost his whole entire thing is all freaking microgreens. It's crazy. So massive operation. So those are the guys you want to, you know, pay attention to, because yes, a farm that has a couple racks that's been doing it for a few years will know how to grow crops, but they aren't going to know how to grow that same crop when there's 400 or 500, 600 other trays in that same room, and you've got a humidity problem, and you've got a temperature problem, and you've got a lighting problem, and all these things that we've been through, you know, through trial and error over and over again. That's where like real experience comes in, where you've actually got that kind of stuff. But from a bad advice side, I mean, I think one of the biggest things I've seen that drives me out of my mind is blacking out anything. You know, I mean, there's like, that's how you're taught. I mean, you go out and you look at almost everybody's stuff. They're like, oh, put everything in blackout, put everything in blackout. You absolutely do not need to do that. There's no reason for most crops. I mean, there's a couple of things we'll still do it if we see it came out of germination and we're not super happy with it, but it's very rare because, you know, like when you're in a position like Mike and I, we're about 300 trays a week. He's about 300 trays a week right now. You know, it's really, that's 300 trays of blackout trays you got to wash every week. It's a waste of time.
Yes.
You know, so little things like that. I mean, just, you know, stupid stuff. But that's kind of, I think the big glaring one for me is just that, you know, you're just adding extra work that's unnecessary. But I know I did a 5 myths. I think it was 5 or 6 myths on YouTube at one point. So you can go check that video out and kind of get a better idea. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but that was a fun video to do. And it was very blunt.
Yes.
So,
and sometimes it needs to be blunt.
Yeah. I mean, cause like, you know, there's a lot of bad advice, but I'd say blocking out things is probably number one, as far as just wasting time and wasting effort, and not having to wash those extra trays. You know, save yourself some time, try it, you know, put things right into the light, try one next to the other on the same shelf at the same height, you know, do one blackout, one not blackout, and you're going to see they're both going to come out exactly the same in the end, if not better when they go straight to the light, you know, so don't waste your time with that. Just simple, super simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And what Andy's talking about blackout is after weighted germination. Because I know there's a lot of times I talk to new growers and they think blackout is the weighted germination. That's weighted germination for the 3, 4, 10, 7 days, whichever. And then people would take it out before it goes underneath lights and put it in a blackout period. We don't do that anymore. Occasionally, the best thing I would advise, if you still think it needs something like that, also try just putting it on the germination rack without weight on it, without a blackout dome, and not underneath lights. Just it's in like ambient light. That will help as well more than what blackout will, because you're not going to have the issues that are going to arise from what can happen with blackout. You know, you've got more mold susceptible. More watering is going to be in there, so you're going to have more mold susceptibility on that. So yes, I agree, Andy, 100%. Stop blacking out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna paste my my actual video on my myths thing into the comments too, so you guys can check that out at your own time.
Awesome. And as we get into the business side of the bottlenecks here, guys, if you want to leave comments, go ahead and make comments. We will be doing a Q&A session after we get done with this episode of the podcast. Right here, right after, we'll have a Q&A session. But if there's anything that pertains to anything that we're talking about right now, at that time, put it in the comments, and we will bring that comment up while we're talking about it and answer it as well. So don't hesitate to put any comments in as we go along. Talking about bottlenecks, though, it used to be people just trying to figure out how to grow microgreens. That was the bottleneck, right? Now the growing part is easy because there's so much information out there on how to grow. And then you can learn that, and you can watch multiple videos and learn how to grow microgreens by your own trial and error after you watch some videos. That's easy. But the pricing is the toughest part, as I said earlier. And then the systems also, your systems within the farm, how you got your system set up. Are you walking 8 miles? I know it's not that far, but just exaggerating, from germination all the way over to your planting area. You're bringing that stuff so far back, So when you set up your systems, you set up your farms, you want to make it a circle kind of, Our planting, the germination rack, then it goes to the growing racks, and then you're going to go to harvest, then you're going to go out the building. You make it a circle or a linear line, depending on how it's set up. But you want to make it to where your steps are minimal between stuff, and you just got it all set up. And you keep the clean and the dirty stuff separate. You don't want to have you're harvesting on the same place that you're doing your planting if you can keep away from it. Now, in the beginning, we started same tables, but you have that clean break, and you make sure everything's clean and the dirt's gone and all that stuff, everything else. But ideally, they are two separate areas, so that way your systems are set up. But setting your systems up properly, and your systems up of when to plant, when to harvest, if you can get away with it, which was the best thing we ever did, because we were planting 3 days and harvesting 3 days a week when we first started. If you can get away with planting 1 day and harvesting 1 day and then delivering 1 or 2 days after, that would be your best system in my book. So you can do one thing, and then you're just delivering. I don't know about you, Andy, but what do you think about systems?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, we're nowhere near planting 1 day a week, unfortunately, because we have. I mean, we're pushing 30 crops at this point. I think different varieties that we grow, so they're all over the map as far as growing time. So we actually plant 5 days a week, but it's really only 2 heavy days. The other days are kind of light. It's like corn and 7-day radish and crap like that kind of throws monkey wrenches into certain things. Yeah. But it's not too bad overall. So we have a couple heavy days, but we harvest 2 days a week. So we harvest, our heavy harvest day is Wednesday. That's all of our commercial accounts. So like restaurants, grocery stores, golf courses, caterers, distributors, things like that. And then we have a lighter harvest day on Friday. In fact, we actually are just now moving some of our grocery stores to Friday harvest and Saturday delivery, because our Thursday delivery is literally almost 12 hours at this point in the car. It's ridiculous. So we had to eliminate some of that to not have my poor delivery driver starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So we took out some of the grocery stores and moved them around. It's a great problem to have. Phenomenal problem to have. But I mean, the biggest thing for us, like software wise, is FarmFlow. I mean, there's things like Seedleaf out there, Microgreen Manager. You can use an Excel sheet. It's completely up to you. FarmFlow is what we wrote. We use it every single day, and it literally tells my guys exactly what needs to be planted, exactly what needs to be harvested. It has all the customers listed right there. So it's super easy. It manages the entire process from start to finish, inventory tracking, keeps track of our seeds, warns me when seeds are almost running out, all kinds of little trickery that's in there, that we use to actually keep things moving along. So it's something you can check out if you want to try it. Just go to freshsourcefarms.com, and you can actually go under, I think it's for growers, and FarmFlow is listed underneath of there. Or you can just go to gofarmflow.com. That'll take you there too. But don't feel like you have to use that one. I mean, you can certainly do this in an Excel sheet. It's not the end of the world. It's just going to be a little more challenging to keep track of everything. If you're small, I mean, there really isn't any crazy reason to dump right into something like that. But if you're getting serious and you've got, 15, 30 trays a week that you're planting, it might be worth getting some kind of a software investment. It literally keeps you sane.
Yes.
I mean, when you get to the level that we are, it's like, I mean, I know you guys still using Seedleaf or FarmFlow or something. I don't even know what you're at this point. I think you're using Seedleaf.
We are currently using a Seedleaf, but we have FarmFlow still. We were at the time that FarmFlow was coming around, we were trying to get everything set up in it and everything. Yeah. It was the time we got crazy busy.
Super slow.
And then so it was slow to process and everything else. So it was just hard. I know I've been on it recently, a month or so ago, and it is super way faster, like 90-day difference, like of it. So it's something that I want to get back to FarmFlow, because I do like the seed inventories, the inventory of products, all that stuff that's on there that Seedleaf does not have. But seed leaf is a good one to start with if you are just starting out. Also, you can go up to like 10 trays or something like that for free. But Andy's program, when you're running a business, is great because I said it does do all that inventory stuff for you. You don't have to think about it. You just put your part numbers in there and it just tells you what you need.
Yeah.
Hey, order this, dummy. Don't run out. Is what it should say
literally.
to you. Because we've ran out of products before or been very close, and like, oh crap. Luckily, it's not seeds or anything like that. That's generally pretty easy to keep track of. But like your packaging, your labels, the little things that you don't think about that you don't order, you're not messing with in your hands every day, every week kind of thing, are the things that are going to skip your mind that can help you with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say beyond that, I mean, take advantage of technology. I mean, if you're manually going in and turning your lights on and off every single day, get freaking smart plugs or smart switches or something. I mean, my God, there's no reason why you should have to be doing that. And in our farm, we have the smart plugs that turn our lights on and off. We've got smart valves, that we use to actually soak seeds. So we can soak up to 4 different seeds overnight anytime. That we can turn them off and off, on and off anytime we want. So we just basically put all the seeds in a bucket, drop the hose in, leave it open, and we go home. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's soaking the peas. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's soaking the wheatgrass. And at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's soaking the sunflower or whatever automatically. So when we get there, it's literally ready to go. We don't have to do anything. So things like that, take advantage of smart technologies, and we even have like routines in there and stuff to where when we arm our alarm system, for example, the lights stay on for an additional minute after everybody leaves. So that way, if anybody were outside or whatever, you can run back in quickly. The lights are still on. Everybody can see what's going on. Or they may think there's somebody else inside waiting to come out because the lights haven't shut off yet. So it's just an added little security thing. Just in case. I mean, little stupid things like that you can do to help. And, we've got cameras all throughout our farm as well. So, for example, I had to add 4 more racks the other day, and I had to move some smart switches around, or smart plugs anyway, and they were brand new. So I'd never used them before. I set up the schedule in there and said, hey, turn on at this time and turn off at that time. And I just happened to go on and check the cameras later that evening, and one of the smart switches didn't shut off. So remotely from a half-hour drive away, I was able to go bloop and turn that light off, and the whole entire rack system shut off. So, it's nice to have that technology available, especially if you're like on vacation or you're away and you've got somebody that you're relying on to actually do the work for you. You can make sure that they're doing everything correctly and all that fun stuff. It's not the end of the world to have cameras, but it does help especially if you're remote. If you have like your farm is located at another person's house or another, location or whatever, that does come in super handy to be able to see what's actually going on in your farm. If we lose power or something like that, I can pull it up and see. So it's just little things like that can make your life so much easier, having the smart technologies, and all that stuff's out there. I mean, it's not hard. To find those things, and they're really easy to set up at this point. So,
and they're cheap,
not complicated. Take advantage of that.
They don't cost much for the peace of mind. And even if you're in your house growing, if you're in your basement, your garage, spare room, whatever else, the first thing system wise, like Andy said, I would recommend is the smart plugs, like Andy said.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to save you the headache of going and flipping them off. Even if I'm going to bed, I got to turn my lights on, or I got to turn them off. It just gets annoying after a while, right? Even if it's just the little things like that, I would highly, highly recommend. And we started with them things right away. Was the smart plugs.
We did too.
And they're cheap. They're not very expensive. So highly recommend.
Yeah, I mean, we get I think the 4-pack of, I think it's Govee, I believe, little smart plugs. They're great. I mean, there's nothing fancy. Just plug them in, you're good to go. So it's super simple.
Yep.
Super simple. And they'll support up to about maybe 6 to 8 racks if you've got 2 lights per shelf. We've found 2 T5 lights anyway.
Yeah, T5,
they do get a little warm once you start getting past 8. So just
don't
try and
do
keep them, at least reasonably normal. But
yeah,
it's not too bad. But they're cheap enough. I mean, if one blows, it's like $2 or $3 for that plug. It's super inexpensive when it boils down to it. So definitely give them a try.
For sure. All right, so make sure you have your systems in place. It's one thing we can highly recommend. And if you need help, reach out to either one of us. We will be willing to help you. Obviously, I have a free group. You can join that and ask questions in there directly to me or in the community as well. So get your systems in place and make your life a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, and on top, I want to add one more thing, if you don't mind. When you were talking about steps and everything, So when we set up our space, we tried to think, what path is the tray going to take from start to finish? From being washed to going on the shelf where it's clean, to going to the planting section, to going to germination, to going to harvest. So really think through that process. I mean, we can be literally at the farm from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. And I get home and I'm like, how the hell do I have less than 2,000 steps? After being on my feet all day long. But it's because we're trying to minimize the amount of time we actually have to spend moving, to go get stuff, to take something somewhere where it's unnecessary. So try and really lay out your setup. I mean, it's similar to like chefs in a kitchen. They put everything within reach as best they can. We try and make it simple for everybody that works for us. So same idea. Just really lay it out where it makes sense. If you have the opportunity to do that, if your space is really limited and you kind of only can set it up one way, then so be it. But really think it through. I know Joe Naaman Sessions at one point, maybe 2 years ago, redesigned his entire layout, and it made a world of difference, just in this one little room he had that he was running it out of. So, it's crazy how much time efficiency you can save by doing that, because time is money, especially when it comes to this business.
Yeah. And the more time you can save doing your business, the more time you can spend with your family, doing whatever else you love to do. So yes, time is always good to save. All right. So just to let you guys know kind of what you can expect from this Thumbcast. If you are been here before with us and was at the beginning, thank you for being back. We highly appreciate you guys being back. If you're new and you've never seen us before, welcome to the Microgreen Thumbcast. Myself, Andy, Mike, and Andy, and Jess is in the back doing the producing stuff, so you see all the fancy stuff going on. But what you can expect from us, we are going to be doing this bi-weekly. That gives us both time to do our business, enjoy our lives, but still be able to get out here and give you guys information and everything else, doing a bi-weekly one instead of a weekly one like we used to do, that we did for over 2 years, almost 2 years, I guess, on that.
It's about
that. But so bi-weekly, so we'll be here and we'll be able to do that for you guys. We want to give you real conversations. So we want you to be part of that conversation. So in the comments, in the chat, ask questions so we can interact with you guys and help you out with wherever you're at and everything like that. So we're going to be real. We're going to give you actual useful information. I don't plan on holding anything back. I don't know about Andy, but I'm assuming he won't be either. I won't speak for him, but
no, if anybody's ever talked to me before, I'm not going to BS you. That's for sure. It's not worth it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're going to make $10,000 a week in the first 2 months of growing microgreens. It's unless you're the most incredible salesperson on the face of the earth and you get incredibly lucky and you've got this basement that's already finished that's 3,000 plus square feet. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You can get there, which is cool.
Yep. And if something's not working that we're doing, we'll let you guys know what flops, what doesn't go, what's good, what's not bad. We'll let you know. This podcast is designed more than just the growing, more than that. It's more about the business side of it and actually growing a profitable business, going from hobbyist to an actual business to full-time, taking your stuff to full-time. We want the best and more full-time microgreen growers locally in their local area, because that's just going to, like I said before, it's just going to help everybody out. So we'll be talking pricing, packaging, customer outreach, how to follow up with grocery stores, restaurants, how to get into them, how to handle farmers markets, all the gamut, what actually works, because we've both done it all, from farmers markets to home deliveries to grocery stores, restaurants, all the gamut, to distributors, to food banks. We pretty much both have done it all. So, and if there's something I haven't done, Andy's probably done it. Andy has done it. I've probably done it. Or we know somebody who has, so we can ask them, right?
Yeah. That's a nice thing too. We know all the major players for the most part. We're friends with almost all of them in some fashion, so definitely helps. And don't get, I want to say that too, is like Mike and I learn every day. I mean, literally every day. I've learned from brand new growers, literally brand spanking new people that were like, oh, I tried to do this particular crop this way, and these are the results I got. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Never thought to try it that way. And then we try it and we're like, wow, that's great. So it's not a matter of like us knowing every single thing. And we're never going to admit that because it's not the truth, but we're damn good at what we do. And we've been doing this for a long time. And we know we've learned a lot through trial and error and education and, things like that we've gone through. So, I don't want you guys to think that we're like standing up on top of this castle looking down at you all going, oh, look at these little peons down here trying to grow their microgreen business. That's not the case. We were there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago. So, we've just gotten really lucky, and we've done a great job of what we do, and we want to help you guys get there too. That's really the goal.
I'm going to correct you there, Andy. We did not get lucky. We both worked hard. We've all worked hard to get where we're at. We put the work in. We got there. We took the risks. Andy took the risk of even opening up a storefront at one point that he had, which is a big risk, So we've taken the risk to go into a warehouse and paying all that stuff and everything else. All that extra cost adds up. So there's always luck a little bit of luck involved in everything, but luck isn't just you just sit back and do nothing and somebody just hands you a whole bunch of money. You actually have to put the work in and do the job and everything else. So the luck is a hard word to use because I think we work too hard to use that word. So, but yes, there's some luck involved in anything and being in the right place at the right time, more so.
Yeah. And I would say it's a combination. And I only say that because I know we have definitely gotten lucky on certain things. We had the first email blast we had sent out in probably, well over a year. We sent out about 3 or 4 months ago. And the only bounce back response I got was from a food bank. And I reached out to that food bank, and that food bank became a client. So if that never had bounced back, I wouldn't even have known that food bank even existed. So it's kind of like those little things happen to just come across every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, it's, we definitely bust our butts. I mean, that's partially why we had to stop doing this a year ago because, Mike's business just went insane. You guys, I think it was like, 1,200 packs a week or something. You gained like almost overnight. It was crazy, if I remember right.
Oh.
It was either 1,200 or 2,400. It was some massive number, but... Yeah, I mean, they got to the point where they just couldn't keep up. So
it was 90 cases at 30 per case at one point.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
2,700.
Yeah, 2,700 packages just to that one customer.
Yeah, so that's why we had to stop.
It was a
great problem to have. So we apologize for having to stop the the Thumbcast back then, but Mike and Jess were pulling their hair out, trying to,
mine went long
pulling his beard out there anyway.
So it was a crazy time. It was but it was a good time. I'll never turn that down. We figured out how to do it and get it done, and we had to get a refrigerated box truck, rented it for a while until we could afford to go out and find a van that was refrigerated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They're not easy to find used refrigerated vans. Would help us make sure we could load a pallet in and deliver it. We could fit 3 pallets in that van still if we need to. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's been where we been doing. So but we want to be here to help you guys solve real problems. That's why we're back. I have a school community. Well, I actually have 2 school communities, both focused on microgreens. Andy's part of another group on school as well, helping you guys out there as well. So you can check either one of them out. I'm sure they're in our descriptions and everything else. And Jessa posted them up there. Andy can post his in there and everything as well.
Comments.
Check them out if you're ever interested diving into learning more and getting more one-on-one-ish coaching, one-on-a-few coaching, I guess. This is more of one-on-many. But if you want one-on-few, that's there. And there also is some, for my community anyway, there are some one-on-one opportunities as well to pay for as well, if you're interested in that. But we want to help you guys here for free on YouTube as much as we can, and help you do that and everything else with this podcast episode. We want to be here and have somebody come on here and say, hey, because of your podcast, I hit my first $1,000 this month in microgreen sales. I've hit my first 1,000 this week. We want to hear them stories. That fuels us more to do stuff. Or even I made my first sell. We want to hear that too, because that's important. Because you can't get $1,000 a week if you don't do one. So the first sell is important as well. Probably more important.
And that's literally why every single week in my Microgreens Entrepreneurs Facebook group, I have, what are the weekly wins? What did you do this past week that you felt great about? And it can be the stupidest, smallest thing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're growing amaranth for the first time and you've been growing it for 3 months and all the trays have sucked and all of a sudden you figured it out and you got one tray right, that's a win. You know, it doesn't have to be a financial win. That's what a lot of people look at it as, you know. Every little tiny step is a step in the right direction. You're either learning or you're winning is basically what it boils down to. So, you know, definitely keep those wins in the front of you, and always think back to where you started too. You know, it's a big piece of it too. I mean, for us, like, we still do residential delivery, even though we don't make much money off of it, because that's where we started and people helped us get here, you know. So yeah, it's a annoying little thing to deal with, but at the same time, we have a lot of people that rely on our stuff for their health issues, you know, which is great. So I'm not going to take that away from them unless I can find somebody that I feel really good about that's local that can take over that piece of it. You know, so that's kind of one of those things that we always have hung on to, whether we should or not, business wise. That's another question. But
speaking of that, we did find somebody to take over our home deliveries. It's another farmer.
Oh, nice.
Who's doing aggregating and stuff like that. So all our home deliveries were turned over to them. And they've actually done other business of stuff we don't reach that they do for us as well. So it's been a great partnership with them. So yeah, they reach stuff we can't reach, and they do all home deliveries because they already are doing home deliveries. That's part of their model. So we were happy to let that part go to somebody else to delivering them. But the customers are still getting the products, right? So that's the main part that we're doing there. Yeah. But with doing as much commercial stuff we do, it was getting very annoying, as Andy kind of hinted at, to go and drop $20 off to somebody when you can go to one place and do $300, $500, $600 dropping off. So it's like, is this taking too much time? And you have to do that as a business, right? You have to evaluate where your time is best spent, and if you should still be doing this part of the business or not, and everything else. So definitely you have to do that as a business. Growing a crop. Right now, honestly, we are evaluating sunflowers. Should we continue doing sunflowers as a business? It takes us about 30 minutes a tray with two of us to do and sort all these seeds out and everything else, because we don't want any seeds in the product. Please don't put seeds in your sunflowers. So we make sure we get 99% out. I ain't gonna say I'm 100%, but 99% of them seeds out. So is that time well spent in our business? So that's something we're evaluating right now. As we do, as a business evolves, right? You got to keep evaluating where you're at, and if this is something you should do. Should you change it? What do you need to do to make it work? If you can make it work, if not, should you stop it? I'm sure you do that occasionally as well.
Yeah, I mean, I every single week I'm like, why do I keep growing sunflower?
I'm with you.
I mean, the nice thing is, like, we tend to pick them ahead of time, so harvest day makes it a little bit faster, but it's just a freaking pain in the ass. I mean, it's still, we're paying somebody to pick them, and I'm usually the one that ends up doing sunflower every Wednesday to take that off of my guys' plates, because that way they can just bang out, you know, all the broccoli that we've got and spicy salad mix that we've got and a million other things that we do a ton of. So it's kind of a nice trade-off from that standpoint. I don't mind doing it, honestly, but it does take a lot of freaking time. I mean, and cantaloupe to a certain extent, it's not as bad, nowhere near. I mean, but you still got to kind of search through it. Beets, you know, to a certain extent is the same thing. You still got seed hulls stuck on there. It doesn't matter how hard you try, what method you come up with. I mean, they're always going to still have some there, you know, and that's probably, I would say, almost worse than sunflower for leaving your seeds behind, because the seeds on beets are rock hard.
Tooth will be gone.
Keep all your teeth. Yep. So yeah, there's definitely some crops that I absolutely hate, and we have made adjustments based on that. Like, an initial mix that we had created for restaurants had beets in it, and we ended up swapping it out for amaranth, because amaranth is so much easier. Yes, you get less yields, but there's zero time spent, you know, pulling out all the stupid seed hulls and stuff. So there's kind of that trade-off that you have to figure out what you want to do. So most of our mixes are things that are easy to grow. So that way we're not, you know, having to deal with any kind of, because especially when you've got like a major restaurant mix that you're doing, you don't want to, if you're growing that for a lot of restaurants, the last thing you want to do is have one of the 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever pieces of your mix end up all dying. You know, so luckily we've gotten really good at amaranth, thank God. And as a result, we're able to switch it out with the beets that we were putting in there. So yeah, that's been a life-changing thing from that. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, there's, and something you have to think about. And the funny thing is, we took, when we first started, we had our bottom 3 sellers, hands down, kohlrabi, kale, and cabbage, hands down, by themselves, you know. And they were our bottom 3 by leaps and bounds. So we decided to mix the 3 together. So we mix all the seeds together, and now we've got a mix of kohlrabi, cabbage, and kale that we call a brassica blend, and it's in our top 3 or 4 sellers. You know, so even taking junk basically and turning it into a mix can be just enough. I mean, I know you guys, from a like grocery store standpoint, that's a majority of what you guys sell is mixes, which is awesome. People love mixes. So if you're looking to create some new product, I mean, you don't have to learn how to grow anything extra, just mix the stuff together, and it's like unlimited. I mean, if you're growing 20 something products, you can create 400 mixes in no time. So, it's really just a matter of how creative you want to get with it. And outside of like cantaloupe and maybe corn, and like herbs and stuff, obviously you can mix almost anything together. It's going to taste good. It doesn't matter. You put sunflower and broccoli and radish and, kale and cabbage and kohlrabi and a million other things. It's all going to be fine.
Yep.
But then we start throwing in kind of the oddball stuff, the sweeter stuff or the herbs. And that's where it can get a little bit weird, but that's just something you taste at that point and try it, see if it works out. But
please taste your mixes
really
before you sell them.
Yeah. Because I know a majority of what you guys do is mixes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, our majority of our sales are mixes in grocery stores. It seems to go better. Obviously broccoli still sells well. But all the mixes are the ones that really go. Broccoli is obviously always going to be one of the top sellers. That's what everybody knows. It's the most studies done on. Everybody should be eating their broccoli. Might save your life. But definitely the mixes in the grocery stores.
Yep. Yeah, residential and grocery stores for sure. And come up with that fancy restaurant mix. I mean, it doesn't hurt, only because the giant company in California sells, a mix that they make that's very basic. And if you can come up with a version that's similar to that or has similar look to it, which you'll often see it when you go into a restaurant, it's the cheaper mix that they basically make in this Californian place. That's an easy replacement, and that can get you in the door with almost any restaurant because the mix is gorgeous. They can put it on anything. That's really the goal, is just to give them something they can buy pounds of and they can just go plop on every single plate that goes out the door. Doesn't matter. They don't have to spend time with it, or figure out what matches and what tastes well together and all that stuff. If all they care about is visual, it's a piece of cake, to create a really easy mix. Ours is literally in an 8-ounce mix, it's 3.5 ounces of broccoli, 3.5 ounces of rainbow radish, and 1 single ounce of amaranth. And honestly, you can get away with like half an ounce of amaranth or 0.25 ounces of amaranth, just having that little bit mixed in. And you can swap that out with beets or chard or, whatever, just to give it that crimson red. It's a super basic mix. Radish is super easy to grow. Broccoli is super easy to grow. Amaranth and beets are a little bit more advanced, but, you can figure them out. I mean, honestly, I'm going to give you guys major props because your beets video changed the microgreens world, when it comes to beets. So if you haven't watched that beets video on Itty Bitty Micro Farm's YouTube page, go out there and watch that. I mean, it literally taught us how to grow beets too, because we sucked at it for the longest time. So, I mean, it's definitely one of the, as far from an advanced crop learning video, one of the best ones out there. So if you haven't watched that video yet, please go watch that. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. We would still be hating life growing beets, and we probably would have stopped growing them by now. Otherwise,
I'm out with sunflowers.
Yeah. And a lot of that same technique transforms into chard as well. So if you prefer to do chard, which is a little bit easier, go down that road. There's rainbow chard, there's regular red chard, there's all kinds of different ones. So you can use that same technique for the most part. I mean, the seeds, you wouldn't, if you're holding the 2 seeds next to each other, you wouldn't even know the difference. Honestly, they're so similar. So, but that
they grow
video
exactly
is amazing. So if you haven't watched it yet, check it out.
Yep. Yeah, great video out there. Glad we finally were able to get that out there. That was a long one in process, having things filmed and just never getting it out there. But we were happy to get that out there. So again, guys, this podcast, it's here for no hype. It's not get rich with microgreens garbage you see out there. We're going to tell you the real stuff, the real hype, the real thing behind it. No hype. We want to hear your wins. We want to hear your mistakes. We want to hear what's testing great in your farm. On my YouTube channel, the Itty Bitty Micro Farm YouTube channel, there is a community area now that you can actually go in there and make your own post on, and then people can comment on it. You can share your pictures on there, all that stuff. So check out that community. If you got any questions in the meantime, if you're not part of one of our school groups, go in that community post and make a post about something. If you got a question throughout the week or the 2 weeks that you have, we can answer it in there. We can help you out. And then also we can use that for the podcast and help other people out that may not see that. Because if you're having that problem, somebody else is having that problem, we can help each other out. So again, no fluff, no everything else. We're here to teach you the real rules of stuff, real answers, practical strategies, and a community that actually is doing something and working for you. That's what this podcast is for. It's for you if you're looking to grow your microgreen business in the future. We thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.